Thank you very much indeed for joining Piers Morgan Uncensored. My first question for you, I guess, is an obvious one. What do you hope to achieve from our conversation?
That right there, being uncensored. In American media, it's very censored. It feels like an episode of Black
My man, you don't know anything about British media, do you?
Mirror a lot of times. So I've put myself across the line, the point of no return, saying, hey, I know they're going to say whatever they want about me. And when I bring up the truth, they're going to say, you didn't get enough sleep. It's because of your health. They're going to call me names for my truth. But these experiences that I'm telling you about are factually things that I've went through and things that I refuse to keep going through and things that I'm not going to let my children go through and things that I'm not going to let my peers go through. No pun intended.
Well, look, we are most certainly uncensored on this show, and I want to give you the time and the platform to really explain yourself, because I think that sometimes sound bites about people, perhaps taken out of context sometimes, can create a very distorted view of what a person really thinks. What do you think, looking back over the last few weeks in particular, what do you think have been the biggest misconceptions about you?
Well, I think there's a left agenda to silence anyone that goes against the agenda. Let's go back to Trump running for office back in 2015. Everyone that was around me in my industry, in the entertainment industry, told me that my life would be over. I would be on the wrong side of history. I've even had threats to my life for wearing the Trump hat. And it even ended up in, destroying my family and also making it where I have to raise my children differently because I actually am a person that's classified as Black. I classify myself as Jew, but a person that's classified that had been given that title in America as Black in America, that I'm supposed to stay in a block of a vote. You never heard the term white vote. So why is there a term Black vote? How is that okay? It sounds just as racist as a Black drinking fountain. And my dad, called me and said,
No, it kind of is like the diametrical opposite of that, actually. I'm just saying, like, the idea that like a Black drinking fountain and the Black vote are the same is kind of wild, considering that the Black vote was non-existent at a time when the Black drinking fountains were. The whole civil rights movement was unironically centered around this concept of, abolishing segregation in the Jim Crow South. So, I mean, that's a wild fucking thing to say.
The thing that the left fear about Ye or makes me the most dangerous is I'm rich. And that's the point. Tupac told me back in the days, you had to get your money right and then you go to war. So I'm going to war. I don't have endless resources. I only have maybe, honestly only.
I mean, Tupac was pretty leftist, I don't think that he and Tupac ever interacted. Did they? I think he just is saying that Tupac said those things. Tupac's worldview is pretty well known. His political opinions are pretty well known. Fairly certain that a person who was a card-carrying member of the Young Communist League would be an advocate for Mr. Billionaire.
Maybe $120 million in my account. But what I'm not going to let happen is I'm not going to let my kids take over Yeezy someday and have a boardroom telling them what to do and talking behind their back. I'm not going to let that happen to my children. So I have to fight right now. And the other powerful icons in Black music, when they were at the top of the game, they didn't fight at that point. They were too afraid of losing whatever they had. So by the time they wanted to make a difference, by the time Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC, he didn't have the Cosby Show at that time to be able to stand up when they wanted to literally throw him in jail, where they actually did throw him in jail. So people have to understand just the bravery. There's so many people everywhere. I know everyone can relate to being afraid to say what you're going to feel because you feel like you're going to, you're going to lose something. So whether you agree with me or not, I believe people are going to...
Bill Cosby, a black icon who famously never did anything wrong. I mean, yeah, he has said Cosby innocent too.
Feel the fact that someone is brave enough to say something. Every day I do 5 things that people have been historically killed for. Every day. And it's just, I want to prove, first of all, I am Jew also. The 12 lost tribes of Hebrew. Do the math. Do your research on it. We have got our culture ripped from us and then told we were just simply void of color, which is another definition for black. But if we knew we were a culture and knew we were a people, the way the Jewish people know, then we wouldn't abort ourselves. We wouldn't shoot each other dead in the streets and then rap about it. We wouldn't brag about,
Bro, his take on rap music and black culture is literally just a racist white person's take, by the way. For people saying, I have no idea what he's trying to say, he has like ad-libs in his head, right? He has like talking points in his head and they're all garbled together and he's trying to connect them. Not all black people love drill rap, Hasan. Bro, why the fuck do people say this shit? It's not just drill rap. Like, there is, of course, going to be a component of violence that people talk about that they experience in their fucking music. Holy shit. I've said this already. And the ultimate point isn't necessarily that the art itself needs to be cleaned up.
Having sex with each other's wives. We would keep our families together and we would do business together.
Like, he's talking about, he's doing the classic, like, black fatherlessness is a problem in the black community shit. How do you not see that? He's repeating Thomas Sowell talking points. White supremacist's favorite black person, Thomas Sowell. Even the take like, oh, black voting block is the same as black only water fountains is a white supremacist talking point. All of these talking points so far is just straight up racist white supremacist talking points that he's like, mumbling together.
The most dangerous place for a black person in America is actually in our mother's stomachs. Because 50% of black...
That's true. Not for the reason that he thinks not for the reason that he's about to state. Kanye West is actually going to talk about abortion. However, he's not wrong. That is actually true. Yes. You want to know why? Because black women historically have worse maternal mortality rates than any other group of people in America. Okay. It's a consequence of medical racism. It's a consequence of medical neglect. It's a consequence of not having access to the amenities and not having the same finances as anyone else. It's just another aspect of systemic racism. But of course, he's talking about abortion. He's going to say abortion.
Black deaths a year in America is abortion currently. I mean, I can keep going, but I want to make it, hey, boom, ask me questions, let's go.
I don't want to jump in too much because here's what I honestly think. I think you have an extraordinary mind. You have a number of extraordinary talents. You're a musical genius. You're a fascinating public figure. What has been interesting to me is to watch the furore which has erupted in the last few weeks over a series of statements that you've made, which have caused, as you know, a lot of offense. And I guess before I get into them, I'm just curious as to whether you think there is a line for free speech. Listen, I completely agree with you that there is a war against free speech, that people are...
It's like, make no mistake, I'm a piece of shit. Make no mistake, I'm a pompous Brit, but I'm also a Tory. Make no mistake, I love racism. I think that there is definitely a war against free speech and good ideas.
Treading on eggshells all the time, terrified of expressing honestly held opinions in case they get cancelled. I think we're living in a really insidious era where liberals are behaving like fascists. So on that, you have absolutely my agreement. But my question for you is, do you believe there are limits to free speech?
There are no limits to free speech. It's all context, right? Tarantino can write a movie about slavery where actually him and Jamie, they got the idea from me because the idea for Django, I pitched to Jamie Foxx and Quentin Tarantino as the video for Gold Digger.
What? Wait, what? That's awesome. Dude, I mean, I hope it's real. That's pretty funny if it is, but also a wild statement, and most likely people will not take it seriously unless you're like, you know, if you're still defending Kanye at this point, you probably will take that seriously because your dick riding levels are out of control.
And then Tarantino turned it into a film. But in that film, he puts a context, he creates a context where Leonardo DiCaprio is allowed to use the word multiple times within that context. So Hollywood's job.
Okay, but that is protected by free speech. So I don't know why he's saying that. Like, is he saying that's bad? See, this is the problem. There's two different Kanyes, right? There's the Kanye who grew up as a black person in Chicago. Okay, so like, understandably, he has like moments where there is like the real, genuine perspective of like growing up as a black person in a white supremacist country. And then there's Ye talking as though he is, he just came out of a fucking Klan meeting or something. So while he's talking about, you know, people being able to say the N-word, it's like, okay, that analysis is like strange, but I kind of see what you're trying to say. But then he turns around and he's like, he's about to say like, well, why can't, you know, why can't other white people say it or something? I don't fucking know.
Is to frame things, and they allow what context, what content is accepted and what's not. We have.
Like, what's the argument here? Like, what do you want to fucking censor white people saying the N-word in movies? Like, I don't understand.
Have our thoughts. You know, everyone has thoughts and ideas, and then people try to manipulate your thoughts and ideas. In order for humanity to move forward, we have to be free to think and then to actualize. I like the word actualize better than execute. If you think about execute's a negative word, actualize to be more positive, except for the fact that it has the word act in it, and everyone's an actor, especially in Hollywood. I'm like top 5 writers in human history, so I really get into the power of words, and I feel very akin to Capote, Freud, Nikola Tesla, Da Vinci, Matisse, more Matisse than Picasso, more African cubism than Matisse. So I just do that.
Dude, he is on that good shit, okay? Bro, he took too many BuzzFeed quizzes. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That I throw out that kind of for the liberals. And that's the funny thing. It's like liberals.
Let me hold you up on that.
Me.
On Matisse, when you say you're more Matisse than Picasso, as somebody who's a fan of Matisse and Picasso, actually, I spent a lot of time in Saint-Tropez where they all used to paint together. Why do you say Matisse? What is it about Matisse that you feel an affinity with?
I feel like Drake is more Picasso and Ye is more Matisse. When we talked about, when me and Drake went to do the show last year for prison reform and to bring awareness to the incarceration of Larry Hoover, I sent him articles about the relationship of Matisse and Picasso and the need for these people. You need to have that. You know, I need to go into the bar and go to Starbucks. That's a form of a modern day bar, right? And just hear Drake's song playing back to back. And Drake needs to go into that same Starbucks just in a different city and see people wearing Yeezys. And it puts us both back into the studio. And, you know, God sets up these almost similar characters, these doppelgangers. It makes me really realize God has a sense of humor. Like, why is John Galliano and Mark Jacobs the exact same human being, just placed in a different place? Or why does God have it where Bernard Arnault cannot purchase Gucci, not even through the Chinese market? God does this to remind us that we are not God. Because when you take people like Elon Musk and Bernard Arnault and Trump or Jack Ma, Putin. You take these people in their own space, in their own environments, you know, we can start to feel like gods on earth, but we are nothing in comparison to God. And we are here actually to love one another and to collaborate and to make the world a better place. There's, you know, 1% of the world are placed in power and 99% of the world are the audience. So that 1% of the world, this idea of a United Nations, this is the world that needs to come together. This is the world that, I mean, here's the obvious go-to. Biden doesn't listen to Elon Musk. The president of the United States does not have meetings with Elon Musk.
I don't even, bro, I don't even know what to tell you. Okay. Like, I'm pausing, but like, what's a take that I can give here? He's going crazy.
That is, hey, here, come get me. That's retarded.
They fucking, oh no, they couldn't catch the second half of that. No.
I know I'm not supposed to say that, Biden, but that's retarded, Biden. And I, you know, it's, and obviously because I've been deemed with mental health, all this, I have the right to use whatever words that I like to use.
Well, that's interesting. So
hey, ask another question.
Well, yeah, let me ask you on that. So you just said something very inflammatory about President Biden. It will, as you know, offend a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it will particularly offend people who work in mental health. You say you should not use a word like retarded. But you say that because you yourself have had mental health issues, that entitles you to use that kind of word as an insult. Now, I would say that's an arguable point.
I've had, my issue is I've had mental health allegations.
So do you believe that you have any form of mental illness?
I believe that I suffered from exhaustion. I believe that I suffered from exhaustion. I suffered from being lied to constantly by the people around me. And I believe those.
Like, this isn't even to like disparage ableism, like genuine ableism or whatever. But like, Kanye West has been literally hitting the high notes of every form of bigotry that I don't even know if ableism makes the top 10 list right now, okay? Over the past month, the R word is like one of the more normal things he said in comparison to his speed run of bigotry.
Those things can drive anyone to a point of maximum exhaustion. But I also believe that I'm extremely brilliant and I'm here to make the world a better place. And I'm tired of the left media trying to pick on me. And y'all picked on me enough, and y'all finally touched the person that's not going to stand, that's not going to take it anymore. And that's part of the reason why I'm on Uncensored. Interesting thing about racism and cancel culture, it's kind of similar, right? Racism works on itself. I can go into the Gucci store at age 18 and I just assume that people think that I'm about to steal, so I buy more things. With cancel culture, when I brought Marilyn Manson on stage with me when he was dealing with allegations, my stepbrother Marilyn was canceling himself. So many people comment on my White Lives Matter t-shirt. There's people who are saying right there in Fashion Week, when are you going home? I'm so afraid. People thought I was going to cancel myself. I'm not going to cancel myself. I'm going to keep on delivering what I feel, because guess what? It's very split opinions, by the way. If I talk to a black person that makes under $1 million a year, they really relate to the George Floyd comments and feel hurt that I would even bring it up and question.
Wait, what? He said there's black people that are offended by his George Floyd comments. Understandable. They were horrible. Is he going to say that there's also black people that are not offended by it? Like, as in what? Fucking Candace Owens? That's it?
the approach. They have multiple documentaries on the death of JFK, but we're just supposed to believe this one media outlet version that preyed on our trauma and our pain. And then if I talk to rich black people or white people, Jew or Catholic or atheist, they're really into the Jewish media comment because it affects their business interests.
Okay, well, look,
and it was really interesting.
Let me just pick you up on the two things you've mentioned.
JFK's the president, bro. What the fuck? Of course there's documentaries on JFK's assassination. Comparing that to an open and shut case that happened in broad fucking daylight in front of, 45 people basically filming it from every fucking angle that went to court is wild. But what I don't get is like, oh, well, why can't they make a documentary? They made a documentary on JFK. Why can't they make one on George Floyd? Okay, but the documentary, the only documentary thus far that has been made on George Floyd's murder is with a specific purpose. It's not even like just asking questions. The specific purpose is to get suckers like you into believing that George Floyd was not fucking murdered when the white supremacist criminal justice system even found a white police officer guilty of murder, which is something that they do not do.
The first one is what you said about George Floyd. And the reality of that, it's not a media interpretation of how he died, because the Hennepin County Chief Medical Examiner concluded.
There are a lot of Candace Owens like black Republicans. The left just choose to believe 99% of Afro-Americans are Democrats. Yeah, dude. The understander of the black community is here, guys. He said Afro-Americans. The only time I've ever heard anyone use the term Afro-Americans was when Kramer was apologizing for screaming the N-word.
That Floyd died from cardiopulmonary arrest. His heart stopped, complicated by the way the police restrained him and compressed his neck. Now, he also said there were other contributing conditions.
Wait.
Well, hang on, let me finish. There were other contributing conditions, narrowed arteries, high blood pressure, and fentanyl intoxication. But although these were significant conditions, he said, and things that played a role in the death, they didn't directly cause the death. The cause of death was what that policeman did with his knee to George Floyd.
Person?
Well, why would a coroner lie?
What makes you believe that?
Why would a coroner lie?
Because he could get paid to lie.
Yeah,
because he could get paid to lie. Because
but yeah,
he's
I watched
in
it.
the press.
I watched it for 8 minutes.
The majority of the press.
Right, but I watched it for 8 minutes.
Now tell me this: have you seen the Candace Owens BLM documentary?
I have watched some of that documentary, but here's what I would say to you: when you watch that video of George Floyd,
no, it's not a but. It's not.
Well, I haven't watched the whole thing. I know.
Okay,
I know what you said about. I know Candace.
I'm going to finish. La la.
It's all right.
La.
You don't have to do that. It's fine. I know what it means.
La 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 means be quiet and let me finish.
Right, but you did interrupt my question.
Right, so with the BLM. No, I wasn't finished. You're pressing agenda. You haven't seen the whole thing.
I don't have an agenda. I just read you what the coroner said.
So we can have 20 different perspectives on how JFK died, but us as black people, not only can we only vote one way, we're not allowed to have any other perspective.
Every time, dude, it literally revolves around contrarian, being a contrarian. Always. It's always the same. I'm not like everybody else. I'm so different.
For George Floyd, where he passed, the murder rate is up 50%. And nothing, this is so-called movement, but it didn't move blacks anywhere.
Right, now listen.
So me as a black person.
I will say there are legit.
Wait, who are you to speak on how black people feel though, man? Man, shut the fuck up, okay? Suck my cock, okay? I'm a political commentator. Of course I'm going to talk about black Republicans as a voting bloc when I'm talking about how it comes from a deep resentment and a desire to claim that you are not a part of a fucking monolith, okay? Shut up. This kind of fucking weird, idiotic, neoliberal, identity politics focused understanding of culture and politics is literally the reason why Candace Owens exists. Okay? You inherently, black or white, whatever your background is, when you fucking do that, you are legitimizing the defense shield that Candace Owens puts up every time when she's like, oh, I can say whatever the fuck I want because I'm a black woman. That's how she gets to use white supremacist talking points. You fucking idiot. Shut up. Don't you understand that that is precisely how Republicans think? That's precisely how racist people think. They are literally using that as a weapon all the time. That's how they can get away with like tokenizing someone like fucking Candace Owens and making it seem like her very clear white supremacist agitated propaganda is actually legitimate. Candace Owens' entire role in this arena, okay? Candace Owens' entire role in this arena, in this political arena, is to make white racists feel comfortable about their racism. She's not a useful idiot. She's not an idiot. She is very willingly a soldier of white supremacy. She knows what she's doing. Don't give her that out by being like, she's a useful idiot. She's not a useful idiot. She's just useful. You're the idiot if you take her seriously. Kanye West is more of a useful idiot, in my opinion, than Candace Owens is. He falls on the idiot side a little bit more because he was the one who fucking believed the propaganda. I don't think Candace Owens believes the bullshit that she spreads.
Legitimate questions about the Black Lives Matter movement, no question. But on the specific point about how George Floyd died, I don't think it's in question about what actually killed him. It was that police officer with his knee on his neck.
Well, it isn't question. It isn't question. I'm questioning it.
Well, you can
as
question
a black
it, but
person
what you're
who has
questioning
had
is a
friends,
coroner report.
Do you have friends that were killed by police officers? Do you have friends that were locked up? Do you have friends? Do you have people aborting half your race? No. So I am the black person.
See, Kanye West remembering that he's a black person only when it comes to defending an argument that he's trying to make, an argument that is rooted within white supremacist rhetoric that is for a white supremacist purpose, undermining one of the most broadly covered black deaths in contemporary American history, trying to create confusion around it. Only then does he turn around and go, oh, well, I'm black and these are my black experiences. How dare you question my take on this? This is literally it. This is he's using it just like Candace Owens does.
With the black experience that's worth $11 billion and is the most influential person on the planet. And I am questioning it.
Okay.
I have a right to question it.
Absolutely.
You can't tell me with your accent that me as an American Jew black person that I cannot question that death and question the means behind that was put on camera.
I'm not saying you
to
can't
traumatize. I'm not finished. La 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 means let me finish.
Okay.
I'm not finished talking. So we can't. I cannot. See, because you distract my thoughts and then you try to make me look like a crazy person and you feel you have the right to cut me off. And I've proven you guys don't want it with me. This is like Terminator 20. You've never seen this before. You've never seen this before, so I want no one to play with me. Mm-hmm. I have the right to question because that videotape was used to traumatize my people and force us into the Democratic vote. Hey, George Soros, you're a real competitor. I respect you. I'm worth more money than you, and I have more influence than you, and have, Piers Morgan from a different country saying, well, I'm not going to do an English accent because that would be racist. I'm funny, by the way.
That's fine. I know you can do that. As I said to you, the show is uncensored, yay. You can say what the hell you like, right? But that doesn't mean I can't pick you up on a few things, right? You accept that.
I accept that, but you try to say, it is unquestionable because this one Dr. Fauci said this. I know it wasn't Dr. Fauci, but I'm just giving an example where we hear from even Google. Like people feel like, if you Google it, it's factual. There's so much non-factual information about me on Google, but then I still believe Google. And people pay to get certain information to the top of Google. But this is good. Keep going. Where else you want to go with it?
Here's where I want to go. The civil rights lawyer Lee Merritt responded to what you said about George Floyd's death and said, while one cannot defame the dead, the family of George Floyd is considering suit, which they're now doing, as you know, they're suing you for $250 million, for Ye's false statements about the manner of his death, claiming Floyd died from fentanyl, not the brutality established criminally and civilly, undermines and diminishes the Floyd family's fight.
This is 100% true, by the way. He's weaponizing intersectionality to say whatever he wants, regardless of how ridiculous it is. Yes, but because a lot of Americans are fucking so stupid, both on the liberal side and conditioned into not looking at the actual nuance, that they will literally eat this shit up. There's a reason why, like I said, Candace Owens is so popular, or so successful, rather. Partially because she's on the white supremacy side, and white supremacy is the structural norm. So obviously, there's a lot of people looking for someone to reinforce those biases that have been baked into our existence from the jump. But the other reason is because as a black woman, when she does that, that juxtaposition is something that is appealing to white racists who could turn around and, like I mentioned time and time again, point to Candace Owens and go, see, as a black person, you're disagreeing with a black person. And some libs will eat that shit up. The kind of libs that say, Black Panther came out this week. I don't think we should be going to the movie theaters. This is one for the black people. I don't want to take up a space. You're a fucking idiot, dude. Just go watch it. What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, it's just, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's the liberal version of that same fucking idiotic brain disease. It's a fucking Marvel movie, man. It's just performative nonsense, okay? It's not about, like, undermining or attacking white supremacy as a structural problem. It's not taking it apart piece by piece. It's just it's a way that white liberals want to fucking feel good about themselves. That's it.
Right. So what is your response to that?
Well, anybody who loses a loved one, my heart goes out to them. Any race, my heart goes out to the pain of that. I have a theory about it. Now, this is not a fact. This is a feeling that I have. In the documentary, George Floyd's 2 roommates said that George kept saying, they want a tall guy like me.
What does that mean?
Tall guy like
What's the implication behind that? It's very weird.
Like me. So for me, I'm a creative, right? I can like make a dinosaur out of a femur, right? So if I'm making a dinosaur out of a femur and I'm looking at a documentary that says George Floyd was telling his 2 roommates they want a tall guy like me, and on the day of his death, he prayed for 8 minutes. They said he prayed longer than he ever prayed. What do you think, me as a creative mind, the beautiful mind, right, the sensitive mind, what do you think I feel could have happened in that situation?
All right. Well, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I would say that because of your brilliant, beautiful, creative mind, as you put it, and I don't dispute that at all, you've got an extraordinary mind. And I can see that in the way that you conduct interviews. You go off on very long tangents, but they're sort of fascinating. I find it fascinating to listen to you. I'm not saying you don't have a right to question.
Sort of, quite. Yeah. These are like Capote level fascinating tangents.
No, they're not. They're not. I'm just saying it's the way you conduct yourself, and I think that's very interesting.
What do you mean? It's or not? Why is it? Oh, it's not Capote level.
He's like, suck my dick right now. Piers, give it a little suck right now, or I'll end this interview. Same guy that keeps seeing Messi playing soccer in his backyard, carried by Mike Dean for his whole career. Stop, dude. Yeah, the narcissism stuff is actually content, because he is so high off of his own farts that like it does make for compelling content, especially when you're trying to understand what he's saying.
Actually, I think you
Capote level.
If you would like me to compare you to Truman Capote, I am happy to do that. Yay. If you want,
he's like, I'll sock you, I'll polish your knob, my friend. I'll do it. I will. This is a beautiful interview that you're giving me, Piers Morgan, on the show. Piers Morgan interviews people that are worse than his, so he looks good in comparison.
Be known as the new Capote. Okay. I'm with you, okay? I'm not going to question your talent. When you question that...
Answer the question about the femur to the dinosaur.
No, I'm going to ask you a different question.
Situation.
I'm just going to ask you this. What?
No, you're not. You're gonna. No, I didn't finish my question.
Well, hang on. You can't tell me.
Answer my question.
You can't
first.
tell me what questions to ask you. You accept that I'm the interviewer.
To answer my question. No, I said answer my question. No, I'm interviewing you too.
Well, you can't interview me. It's my interview.
You're Bono. I'm interviewing you too. See, that's the way we rap.
Let me just.
You know what I'm saying?
No. Let me just put this to you.
So no.
Why does he think, dude? There's no, dude. What the fuck? I feel like too many people have just like said Kanye is so brilliant that he just like he'll have like elementary bars, okay? He'll have bars like a kid, and then he'll still be like, man, that shit was fire. You're Bono. I'm interviewing you too. And then he's so used to the room clapping for that he's just like, I just came up with that on my own. That was pretty fire.
No. You're trying to
hang
avoid.
on.
You're trying to avoid
No. La
I'm-
to put quite a phrase. You're
I'm
interrupting
gonna
me
get back
now.
to it. I'm going to get back to it.
All right, you can, but let me
because
ask you
you
this.
haven't answered my question.
Here's my question for you, which you haven't answered.
No, I'm not. Answer my question with a question.
yeah.
I'm not answering anything to you.
I'm going back to my original question in a way, which is simply this.
Bro, this is literally
I'm
two
not saying you
children.
don't have a right to question how George Floyd died, but given the world watched that horrifying video of that policeman's knee on his neck, and given that is what the coroner said caused his death, albeit he had other underlying conditions, including fentanyl intoxication, when the family see someone like you, who's hugely influential, you're known around the world, questioning how their loved one died, they find that very hurtful, which is why they're now suing you for it. And my question for you is, do you understand the pain that sometimes your comments can cause, like this circumstance with George Floyd's family?
Now, I'm going to ask you a question again. With my imagination, when you see in the documentary that George Floyd's two roommates said they want a tall guy like me, they want a tall guy like me, and that he prayed extra long on the day of his passing, where do you think that takes my beautiful mind?
I think it can take you to a place where you want to believe something which may not be true. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying all the evidence points. I'm giving you an honest answer. My honest answer is I think that
That wasn't honest. That was a political
my honest belief is that.
What do you guys do? People in the newsroom, what are they doing? They're like cringing right now. They're like, whoa.
No.
We never experienced this before.
We
never experienced
I'm not cringing.
a black entertainer that won't be threatened by the media to back down from his opinion.
Yeah, I think you mistake me.
Dude. I mean, this is literally Candace Owens. This is Candace Owens. Notice how throughout the interview, he's saying anti-black shit nonstop. And the moment that he gets pushback on it, he's like, well, I'm black. And you've never actually seen a black person like me before. And that's why you're doing this. Like, it's just like, it's so clear what he's doing.
You mistake me for somebody who's going to be like the others. I have a show called Uncensored for a reason. I'm giving you a platform for a reason.
But you're pressing an agenda.
No, I'm not. You're perfectly entitled to your opinions.
Your agenda.
But do you accept
you're lying now?
Do you accept you may not always be right?
I just called you a liar. How does that make you feel?
That's fine if you think I'm a liar. That's fine.
No, you're a liar. You're pressing the agenda of the pain and trauma economy that is pressed on my people by the left.
Actually, the trauma I think that was implemented to George Floyd was from a vile white racist police officer who kneed him to his death. And I agree with the coroner's findings because I don't see any reason why the coroner would invent that. So that's my belief. If you want to challenge that and you don't believe it, that's entirely your right.
I have a question.
I think he's perfected the art of like not being interviewed though. Because like, listen, Piers Morgan is a British journalist, okay? And the reality is no matter what happens, okay, no matter how awful he is, no matter how conservative he is, if you're a British journalist, you're very good at fucking pushing and pulling in certain places to like always get quotes that even the other side doesn't actually mean, okay? Whatever the quote is that you want to get, you will get it. British journalists are born to do this shit. They do it really, really, really well. American media is not as good at like picking shit apart in the same way that British media does. Whereas like Kanye West has perfected the art of not getting caught at all by behaving like a child, like a petulant child. I would say similar to the Boris Johnson technique.
Who do you think are the biggest vile white racist? The media.
You think the media is racist?
What? Please, next question. Please don't ask me any retarded questions.
Okay, let me go to the next furore.